On a lighter, different note, COVID-19 will not stop poets from presenting us with the beauty of spoken words. Because of the virus, the 24th Poetry Africa Festival is being presented online.
Our guest this morning, our Centre for Creative Arts Director, Ismail Mahomed, who is in Durban, and poet Sarah Godsell, who joins us via Skype. Ismail, a very warm welcome to both of you first. Ismail, let's start off with you. Tell us what it's all about.
Poetry Africa is in its 24th year. It's one of 4 festivals that's presented by the Centre for the Creative Arts in the School of Arts in the College of Humanities at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. It's an opportunity to bring together poets from South Africa and across the globe to share with each other, to celebrate the power of poetry, but also to use poetry as agency for social change in our societies.
And for you, Sarah, I mean, as a poet, how have you been hit personally by this particular lockdown where, I mean, I suppose poetry is such a contact person kind of, you know, beauty and experience, but this time it seems that obviously less of that was done.
Yeah, it's been a really tough time. I'm lucky that I have a full-time job, but most poets who are performing poets who make their living off poetry have been incredibly hard hit. What has been really beautiful to see is how the industry has adapted. There have been incredible online shows produced, from World International Poetry Day, where we had poets from all around the world in a joint show with about 5,000 people watching, to this Poetry Africa Festival. So we're finding different ways. We're missing the contact, we're missing meeting each other, we're missing hugging and holding hands and holding poetry in the physical space, but we're manifesting. We're not letting the COVID-19 pandemic stop poetry, because poetry is needed now. Poetry is hope and poetry is fight, and it's needed now.
And I personally miss the snapping, you know, when you enjoy the poetry, you snap.
Yeah.
I miss that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously the pandemic is going to be an important factor here. It's been held virtually, but what else are you seeing coming from the poets? Is there a different kind of tension or feeling?
I think there's definitely been, there's really been a pulling together. Hear My Voice has organized a poetry relief fund, which is kind of an unheard of an initiative that they put on shows that poets would get paid for. They got funding from different aspects in different areas, mainly independent funding. Goleka Butuma has also launched a Black Women's Poets Relief Fund. So there's a pulling together, and I think that we're experiencing each other in different ways. So instead of the snapping, we're repeating each other's lines in the chat rooms. So we're really connecting with the poetry in a different way. And also we're trying to just kind of appreciate that we can do more international things that we wouldn't be able to do because we don't have the funding for the flights to get, for example, Nikki Giovanni, who's in Poetry Africa, who I'm really excited to be. She's part of the lineup, and we've had international collaborations that wouldn't have been possible. So I think, but the financial, you know, the financial impacts for poets who make their living off the art have been incredibly hard. Yeah. People had to hustle. The relief fund from the state hasn't been very kind to poets.
Right.
Although there have been initiatives that have been state funded that have worked. It's been a kind of uneven response.
Right. And I just want to jump in there due to time, because we want to really hear you perform as well there, Sarah. But Ismail, if I can bring you into this, I mean, what have been some of the challenges but also opportunities that you've identified when it comes to presenting this 24th Poetry Africa Festival online?
I think one of the greatest challenges that we have is the inequality in our country, which still means that only those who have access to data have been able to access the festival. We have, however, made the festival free. You know, even though we've been able to pay artists a small fee, we've at most kept the entire festival free so that people can access it if they have data. But I do think we also have missed out on the opportunities that we have of taking our poets to schools where they inspire the young people, you know, with live performances and so forth. Sarah has mentioned the opportunities, and I think the greatest opportunity we've come out of this is the solidarity amongst artists, but also just the international breakthroughs that artists have been able to make. And I think as festival producers, we have realized that we don't have to work with either an online platform or a live performance platform. And as we move forward into the future, we may want to consider a hybrid style of festival that combines both.
Okay, Ismail, I'm sorry to jump in there. I mean, I'm looking forward to hearing what's going to come out. And Sarah, I believe you've got something for us to listen to.
Yes. This poem is called For the Guns, and I want to dedicate it to the movement that's happening in Nigeria at the moment. The guns crawl out of themselves tonight. They leave their metal carcasses. The student struggles out of his coat as the policemen wrestle him. He escapes, black, into the night. The policemen are left with the ghost of the coat, still asking them, "What did I do?" The guns hear. They crawl out of themselves, leaving the police with their metal carcasses. They crawl into the throat of the other student, into her rage, into her fear. This is what they are used to eating. Instead, they find themselves abandoned even by her. The guns weep because the policeman will not. Caught in the web of the question, she keeps asking the policemen standing there with the metal carcasses of their guns, "How can you not see that you are killing your child?" Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank
That
you.
is unbelievable.
Ooh.
And you know, I know that Al Jazeera, the AJ stream, is going to be tackling that. It's such an important issue and just so beautiful. I mean, that crying out of the guns.
Thank you so much.
Sarah.
Ismail, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us, and all the best, of course, with the online version of the 24th Poetry Africa Festival.
Yeah.
Yeah.